let's also look at CEAT, and those numbers also came out. We're looking at sales having grown 15%, reaching a level of 772 crores. Profits for them are down to 14 crores versus 60 crores on a year-on-year basis. Let me first of all touch base with Mr. Sunil Sapre, who's the Chief Financial Officer at CEAT, to understand these numbers. Mr. Sapre, many thanks indeed for joining in. Firstly, if you can help us understand why this huge decline in profits?
Actually, we should understand it more by reference to the immediately preceding quarter, Q4 of last year, because when we compare with last year, just to give those broad numbers first, the raw material cost prices have gone up by 44% as compared to same quarter last year. And selling prices have gone up not in that proportion, I mean, which should have increased, say, by 28 to 30% to have same profitability, have gone up by about 17-18%. And that's why the drop in profitability of about 12%. So you see EBITDA margin from 17 to 5%. But the more appropriate comparison would be last quarter, that is Q4 of last year, because the material costs have been really volatile. And when we had the results declared of Q4 last year, we said that we still see the material costs going up, and maybe the margin will be same or slightly lower. And of course, for this quarter, we have been slightly higher, but at about almost about the same as last year Q4. The sales have been same at about 772 crore, and EBITDA margin has gone up slightly from 5.1% Q4 to 5.3% in this Q1.
Mr. Sapre, it's perhaps a little easier for us to make that comparison if you can tell us, for every 1 rupee increase in your raw material, which is natural rubber, how much of a hit do you actually take on margins?
Material cost is about 70%, so that's the ratio you can use.
Okay. And are you then expecting these prices to now begin easing, or is there going to be further pressure on the raw material front?
We don't see them easing. We are still very high. So, and going up, even
right.
now.
And you also said that you've had to absorb some of that impact within the company instead of being able to pass all of that on to the next consumer down the line. So are we expecting then further price rises from you to be able to mitigate some of those effects?
We have been taking price increases. For example, if you see this quarter also, during the quarter, the raw material cost went up by about 8%. And the selling price also was increased, and therefore not much impact was felt in Q1. So going forward also, we have to see to what extent we are able to do that. But that also depends partly on the market. So we have to watch it.
Right. Yeah. Now, what kind of capacity are you operating at the moment?
The capacity is something like 400 tons per day, as we would describe it.
And what kind of utilization levels does that mean for your plant?
Almost fully utilized, except for whatever time you need for changing of the product.
Okay. So in that case, then, is there on the anvil any plans for expansion to be able to take this to the next step?
Yes. The Halol in Gujarat, we are doing the radial plant, and which should start its operations in October, in Q3.
Okay, so then those realizations and the impact of that on your books will begin in Q3.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Sapre, many thanks indeed for joining in and for helping us understand those numbers. Well, that was the management at CEAT talking about why they've had a huge hit on profitability over there, mainly because of the huge increase in rubber prices, which is the key raw material, of course, for these tire makers. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with lots more stocks to talk about. Please stay tuned to Top.